Brad and Ali's Adventures.
Time to hit the road.
Okay, here we are, Brad and Ali Adventures, and we are in sunny Wauchope. And if you can see behind me, our brand new second-hand Lotus Trooper. We are here with Jarad from Way Around Oz. We picked up the Trooper, thought, okay, we've got a around a 2300 tear, 300 total mass, and a Mazda BT50 with a 3500 maximum towing capacity. So we've had a look at this. It felt a bit heavy. We've got suspension upgrade. Just had this weighed, and I guessed that the tow ball weight was going to be about 260. Here's Jarad from Way Around Oz. So I guessed 260 on the tow ball. What did the machine of honesty tell us on our first weigh that the tow ball weight was?
Well, the first weigh came in at 338.
338.
So he was close.
Me and I, here she is hiding, have basically packed nothing clothes. There's a mattress protector in there, doona, a little bit of food, and there's next to nothing. We got two 95 litre water tanks that were full when we turned up here. The grey water tank at 90 litres was half full, and there's literally bugger all else. There's only half a tank of gas on the front, and there's two 9 kilo gases. So how did our overall weight come in on the first weigh?
The first weigh, our overall weight came in at 2980, just under 3 tonne, 20 kilo under 3 tonne.
Which is the maximum for this van, isn't it?
Correct.
3 tonne.
Yeah, so you got 20 kilo to play with.
So there you go. Yeah, there you go. Here we are buying a van, and I don't mean anything against the bloke we bought it off, not at all. This is more the fact that the tear was about 2300 on the compliance plate. We knew he'd done some modifications, so I expected to be a few hundred kilos up. Add in a couple hundred kilos of the water, so I'm thinking we're around the 2700 mark, and I would have expected the ball weight to be 260, 270 kilos. Ball weight was 338. Overall weight is just under 3 tonne. What do we have to do then to fix that on this magic machine?
So we've played around, we've dropped some water out of the tanks to try and lighten the ATM. So once we dropped the water, we got it down to 2,887 kilo, but he has no water on board now. So
I think I've got one little tank left, that's about it.
We've lightened the ball weight slightly by shifting a few things around, but the overall problem's still there.
So what do you recommend to people that are buying vans, travelling in vans, that you see the numbers on the compliance plate or on an ad or something from a dealer?
What you see is not always what you're going to get. I'd personally get it weighed straight up and see if it runs the same as them numbers that are on your compliance. When they do a tear weight, you don't have gas bottles, spare tyres, all battery brake assists, all them are not included. So that all adds up, all those little things, and as we're finding out today, and it doesn't leave you a lot to play with. So
and it's a lot of fun to do when it's pouring down rain and you've got to get on the ground, and we're all now in need of a shower, but we've got no water left, so we can't do that. Here we've got 2 tyres on the back. We took one off to see that it actually decreased the rear load, but it increased the ball weight because there's more weight back here. So trying to decrease ATM didn't work that way. We've 2 water tanks under here. We've emptied the front water tank, which has decreased the overall weight, and also taken 90 litres, which is about 90 kilos, off the front tank, has taken about 30 kilos off the tow ball weight. That's how accurate this has been in real time to see what you can do to the vehicle and the van to adjust your weights in real time. A grey water tank, well there still is a grey water tank, 90 litres, it was about half full. We emptied that, and that actually increased the tow ball weight again by 4 kilos. So all these fine minor adjustments that you can do actually have a significant impact. We have to now weigh the BT50 and see what we're going to do on a combination mass, and let's hope that I can move some weight from there to the ute, so stay tuned. So we have the BT50 connected to the van on the scales. We had a guessing game of what the vehicle would weigh connected to the tow ball, and I said 2700. What was the overall weight, Jarad?
Come in at 3152, so we had 48 kilo left before we overload the GVM.
How much fun is this? So all we've got in the back of the ute is a couple of chairs, a table and some stuff that I had to pull out of the tunnel boot because that decreased then the ball weight and the total weight. So we've put that in here. We've got bugger all in there compared to what we wanted to put in there when we go on our big trip. And we've only got 48 kilos. And this was with Ali and I in there. The tank is 140 litre long ranger tank. It's full. We've got all the other modifications, upgraded suspension and all that kind of stuff, weight to consider. There's a fridge in there, there's our lunch in there, everything's in there. And I thought we still had a few hundred kilo to run, as I did on the van, and we've got 48 kilos. So now we're going to weigh the vehicle on itself, but I've got to take the van off. So isn't this so much fun? Another idea and reason why you should get weighed. So there you go, weigh around Oz. What do you think, love?
We can't go anywhere.
We're a little bit limited, aren't we? Still waiting for my tooth. Get that next month. Can't wait. It'll be fun. Other side. Yeah. Okie doke. So we finished all the way. Jared's going to run through a bit of a summary and then he'll detail a report.
Yes, I'll email through a report in 2 to 3 days. Just explain a lot easier rather than just a heap of numbers.
Although we didn't get the result I wanted, we got a result. So how do we sit overall with the vehicle and overall combination?
So the GVM, we were at 3,152 and the max GVM is 3,200. So we have 48 kilo to play with in his GVM.
And that's with full tanks, Ali and I in there, bit of load in the back, all the recovery gear in the ute and everything. So probably less than what I would usually want to travel with in the van, in the ute.
So also on your rear axle, the max compliance for the BT50 is 1850 on the rear axle, and you've come in at 1746.
So we've got about how much gap then over the rear axle?
You've got 104 left in your rear axle limit. So,
which, as we've seen, is not much when we start loading up things in the back of the ute. So,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So we checked all the axle weights, front and rear. But you've got a bull bar, you've got your spotlights, you've got everything on the front that you're ever going to probably put on it. Do you have a dual battery system in?
No, just single in that.
That's something to think about if you did. But
so overall, it's been a good exercise. We know that we're very close to total limit, so we're going to have to make some modifications and see how we go. So there you go. Great lesson. Highly recommended. Thank you so much for coming in, and we'll do a Russell Coit handshake. That's it, and we'll motor off now to Cry into a pie and a coffee or something. Thank you very much. And just like that, we're no longer in the rain. We've made it back home to Tweed, and here we are with the van in the morning sun. So the return trip was awesome. It was raining the whole time, but after making those modifications that Jarad suggested and we looked at on the scales, we definitely had an easier ride home, so we could tell the difference in handling and the weight pull on it. We're going to have a look now at what the report Jarad sent through and how that affects where we move from here. Beautiful view from the van, and we're just going to have a look at the report that Jarad sent us as we're talking about it. So Jarad sent through a number of reports on this. My printer only printed black and white, but it does come in colour. And this is probably a good overview to see the GCM. So we've got the vehicle and the caravan. The gross combination mass for the BT50 2012 is 6 tonnes, 6,000 kilos. So when we combine all that, the vehicle came in at 3152, which is 48 kilo under GVM of 3200. And the van, after we did some modifications and moving around, it came in at 2579. So it's got a bit more room to move. So the total GCM is 5731, so we've got a little bit of room to move now on this one. So now looking just at the vehicle, this is where the GVM's 3200, the gross vehicle mass of the vehicle alone. We add in the front axle and the rear axle total weights, and then it's individually delineated back on there, and we come up with a 3152. So now after we did some moving around and watched the live weight change, this is the report from where we reduced the tow ball weight from 338 down to 319. We reduced other weight over the axles due to emptying some water and moving some things around. Now this is where we came up with all the axle weights plus the ball weight, gives you a total of 2898, and we've got 102 kilos spare. So I think it's important to note that while Jarad said we had at one point 48 kilos to spare on the GVM, on the vehicle's mass, It also has to depend on how much your gross combination mass has in reserve. So if we're sitting already at 6 tonne, which is our maximum gross combination mass, if we've got 48 kilos to go on the gross vehicle mass, you can't really add that because then it will overload your combination mass. So this is how it gets so confusing. Similarly, if you've got room to move in the van in terms of weight distribution, but your combination mass is at or near its maximum, then you really can't put more in. And this is where I think it gets very confusing for a lot of people. The diagrams and the explanation that Jarad gave was quite good. It was easy to understand and you could see it and make it make sense to you, where you hear tow ball mass, GVM, GCM, ATM, all this other stuff, and you think it's too much. So it's quite easy to see why people just go, well, no. But the risks of having firstly an overloaded combination mass is that your vehicle's going to be too heavy. It doesn't want to pull it, it doesn't want to stop, the handling's going to be poor. But either way, we've moved some things around. We're adjusting the gas bottle carrier and the box on the front, probably remove that, move things around, lightening some things up inside the van structurally. Saw a good post about changing the shower door for a polycarbonate thing instead of glass, which will save weight. Whole lots of things there we can do, and then also we're looking at what we'd actually need to carry to make it a bit more well under the weight as we can be. I mean, we're still legal, there was no issue with that, but if we can get it lighter and better balanced, it's obviously going to be a much safer ride. Now we'll move on to the vehicle. So the vehicle, now we have the camper back on it because that's up for sale and there's someone coming to see it soon, but you can see how similar that sits. It's actually riding quite well. It's just the fact that the way this has been put on with the low rail makes it actually look quite low, where the clearance between the wheel arch and everything else is pretty much the same. We've upgraded the suspension. We've got a Petters upgrade suspension and added 2 extra leaf in the rear and Track Rider suspension shocks, and also upgraded the front. What we also have on the front of the vehicle, which was there when we bought it, was a steel ARB bull bar. I've since removed the winch because I need to clean it, but it did have a 25 kilo worn winch in there with all the associated bus. We've got the spotlights on there. There's here we are underneath. We've got the custom off-road bash plates. Now that's a full set, so that's about 25 to 30 kilos of steel underneath that goes under, and it protects all the way to the transfer case. Aluminium tray is a lot lighter than the tub. We had that weighed when we put on. I think it's only about 100 kilos or less. We've got the tow pack, so it's got the Mazda tow bar on the back, so that's got to add weight to it. I did swap out the steel rim as a spare for an alloy rim, so that's saved a bit of weight. Overall, we've put a lot of modifications on the vehicle that have generally increased its standard tear as well. So I remember once going over a weighbridge and it was nearly 2.5 tonne and there was next to nothing on it. So that's increased the overall tear weight of that, which means your payload is down. So overall, really happy with Way Around Oz and Jarad's helpful service. We've come in under and we're only going to improve that, so at least we're not over, but it's good to know just how much you can move your weights around and what they all mean effectively to be safe and to be within limits. So we're looking forward to our next adventure, which is coming up very, very soon. Thank you, Way Around Oz, and you'll find links in the description to contact him and everything we've done here. So thanks very much for watching.